Shots of Brown, shots of Brown, black, black, black. Show 'em on the track, show 'em on the track. Take a shot, take a shot, take a shot. Shots of Brown. You can take it straight or on the rock. Shots of Brown. On this platform, it goes down. Shots of Brown. They know it ain't no cap on Shots of Brown. Take a shot.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Shots of Brown, baby. Well, this morning for me, it's like 8 o'clock here, 8 a.m. here in Atlanta. I'm up early getting to the content, so good morning. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to all my subscribers. If you're new here, you know what to do here. Hit that subscribe button for me if you're enjoying the content. I also want to thank each and every one of y'all, and I don't know who it is, but I want to thank all y'all for just coming into the platform and supporting the platform. But I want to give a special thank you to the people who've been sending hypes. I want to thank you. I wasn't even familiar with what hypes was. I went on my YouTube studio and seen I had like 70,000 hypes. I'm like, what the hell? What's this? So I did my investigation and I figured it out. And I see what it's about now. So I want to thank each and every one of y'all, man, who've been sending me hypes. It's greatly appreciated. I know y'all only get a certain amount of those a week. I think it was like 3. So, man, it's like, I can't even thank you enough for you to even extend one of those to me for the week. You know what I'm saying? So thank you, man. Feel free to send me hypes as much as possible because it helps grow the content. Thank y'all, man. I appreciate it. For real. This video this morning is going to be about tour life with Bobby Brown. I'm just going to be discussing, just how I was my whole life touring with my uncle, my family, and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Also, if you ain't already following me on Instagram and TikTok, make sure you follow on both of those platforms at Shots of Brown on all social medias. I'm about to crank the lives up and the music reviews up over on TikTok, so make sure you really following over there, especially if you're an artist, producer, so we can get these music reviews going. All right, but let's get to it. As far as I can remember, though, I first started touring with Don't Be Cruel. We was little ass boys, like we was kids. I just remember going overseas. We did the overseas leg, and it was me, cousin Jared, all the cousins, you know what I'm saying? Landon was over there, cousin Kelsey, which is, Auntie Lily's son, Jared, rest in peace, Uncle Tommy's son, Hakeem, Auntie Bethy's son, you know what I'm saying? It was just all of us. Uncle B brought all the nephews out there, and his kids, Landon, you know what I mean? Little Bobby wasn't born yet, so it was just Landon at this time. But so we all out there kicking it, and that's when we little ass kids. I'm a little ass boy, but that's when I really figured. That's when I really found out and figured who, that my uncle was a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Because we did Australia, then we did Japan, and we was in Japan. And like when we was out, I remember coming back to the hotel when the hotel was surrounded, hundreds, 1,000 people out there, you know what I'm saying? And they had to rush us in the building, and we went upstairs, and Uncle B was, talking to him from, just outside, and on a balcony, and everybody screaming, going crazy. And I'm like, damn, like my uncle's a star. And that's when it started really coming to me. But at that time, we little boys, and I remember Uncle B had bought some boxing gloves and put us on boxing gloves and damn had us all boxing. We was boxing in the room and just doing little crazy things, you know what I mean? Like we used to just have different type of, fun events, different crazy shit that we would do, you know what I'm saying? But that's when I remember first touring, you know what I mean, during Don't Be Cruel. There was pictures of that. I don't know. There was a whole bunch of pictures, and my family members probably got them still. But I remember us being on stage. It was Kelsey, Landon, me, Hakeem, everybody I named earlier, and we had on like these blue and orange striped little vests. Back when we used to wear the high-tech boots, and Uncle B used to spray paint them, and we used to do different crazy type things with the high-tech boots. If y'all remember high-tech boots, man, drop the shot glasses in the chat. But so yeah, after that, I can't remember if we was already where we was living at that, but we probably had to been living in Tarzana, because I know after we left Boston, we had moved to Tarzana, and then from Tarzana, from Cali, we moved to Atlanta. So I remember us after that coming to Atlanta, being at the mansion, Powers Ferry, the mansion that Uncle B had bought here. My grandmother was remodeling the whole house. All the grandkids, all her grandkids, all the nephews, everybody would be in the mansion. We all basically, grew up there for the most part, for the time that we was right there at the mansion. And then when the mansion days was over, everybody ended up, getting cribs and blah, say blah. So my mother ended up moving to Chamblee, Georgia, like right off of Peachtree Industrial, something in that area. I was going to Huntley Hills Elementary School, I'll never forget. And that's when I really was like, damn, my uncle's a superstar, because even in middle school, I used to get like a different type of treatment from my teachers. They knew who I was and who my family was. So it was just crazy growing up. But, that was the Bosstown days. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm a teenager. During those days, we going to Bosstown. We seeing Uncle B record, different people coming down there recording. I met, Shaq when they came down there. When Shaq came and recorded his album down there, he did a record with Ralph Tresvant, the lead singer from New Edition, and Uncle B. Shaq was cool as hell. Shout out to Shaq. He came down there and was just showing us all love. We was all little kids, and I just remember Shaq handing us all $100 bills. I remember him being so tall he couldn't fit through the studio door. He had to duck down to get through the door. But that was at Bosstown. Now Bosstown is owned by Outkast. They ended up purchasing Bosstown. My Aunt Bethy was running it for a while, and they ended up losing Bosstown. But then, shout out to my Aunt Bethy, rest in peace to her. Love you and miss you. But then Outkast ended up buying Bosstown. But there was a lot of memories in Bosstown. I remember just being there, and everybody used to come to Bosstown and record. Usher, everybody. Bosstown was the hot spot back in that day. You know what I'm saying? I remember it was Bosstown, Doppler. There's a studio right next door to Bosstown that's still Zapp's, that's still popping to this day. So Bosstown definitely used to be the spot. You know what I'm saying? And during those Bosstown days, that's when, 96 and all that, that's around the time when the New Edition Home Again tour was going on. I didn't tour on that New Edition Home Again tour. My mother actually toured on that New Edition Home Again tour with Big Six, a company that she started where she had different artists and different things like that. She was managing my Aunt Coop, had a situation for my Aunt Coop at Rough Riders, and she was managing my sister Abba Daly. My sister Abba Daly had a situation over at Sony where they were trying to sign her. So at this time, my mother had some momentum and had some things going. So my mother was on that tour. She was doing all the after parties, going to city to city and just bogarting and having Uncle B come and pop up at the after party. Different members from New Edition, Ralph, Johnny, shout out to Ralph and Johnny. I got tremendous love for Ralph and Johnny. Shout out to the whole New Edition, but Ralph and Johnny, I really rock with Ralph and Johnny. They cool as hell. I always had the utmost respect for them and love for them. But, my mother was on that New Edition Home Again tour. There was a lot of wild stories that came from that tour, as y'all seen. But so after that, obviously I'm here in Atlanta. I'm a teenager now. I'm going through my thing. I'm in school. So then it comes around the time where Uncle B, okay, around like the summer. So around the after the Home Weekend tour, that's when I really start doing music. Like the very first song that I ever recorded in my life was at Auntie Whitney's house. Shout out to Auntie Whitney, rest in peace. I love you. In Mendham. So the very first song I ever recorded was at the house in Mendham. Auntie Whitney's house in Mendham. And if you know, she had the main house and then it was a studio house. I didn't know nothing about recording no music, you know what I'm saying? I just was always interested in it and playing around with it at that time. Because, my uncle, we looked up to him and he was doing music, so we always, But that's when I really started dibbling, dabbling, and recording my first record in Mendham. And I just remember being in there and not knowing, and they trying to tell me what to do. Like, oh, go in there and do this and do that. And I'm just like, bro, I'm lost. But it was just a dope experience to be able to record my first record, right there in Mendham at Auntie Whitney's mansion. And then years later to actually be blessed to actually record a record and have Auntie Whitney and Uncle B on that record. You know what I'm saying? Day one, I talked about this before. We had a group called Brown Bombers, but I'll get into all that. But, so that was my first time, recording right there. And that was about 98, 99. We was up there. We went up there for, I think it was Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was Thanksgiving. That's exactly what it was. We went up there with the Houston family for Thanksgiving. The Houstons and the Browns spent that Thanksgiving together that year. So that's when I really first started recording for real. Then Uncle B moves. Uncle B and Auntie Whitney move here to Atlanta. And that's when we really start getting active for real. We're getting back active for real now. Touring with Uncle B heavy again. So at this time, I'm probably, 15 years old, you know what I'm saying? And we start touring with Unc heavy, you know what I'm saying? And it was dope touring with Unc because, if you know Unc back then, Unc was the life of the party, you know what I'm saying? He was the life of the party. It was always a party with Unc, always a good time. He was a people person, so he always attracted people to it. It was just always a good time, you know what I'm saying? I can't remember exactly the first show that we done with him at that time, but we used to always be on the road, you know what I'm saying? And at that time, a lot of people used to hate for the nephews. Even Uncle T used to hate for the nephews to travel with Uncle B because they felt like we encouraged Uncle B to party and to be out and to mess with girls and to do different things like that. But if Bob does what he wants to do, you know what I'm saying? So we would probably be out on tour or something and he would have an engagement and he would be late for things because he would be doing what Bob wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? Sitting at the bar, drinking, chilling, whatever. So I remember we used to go out and Uncle T used to be like, listen, y'all, listen, don't encourage, he used to be going off like, don't let Bob do this. We'd be like, we ain't got no say so. But, if you watch that last video where I was talking about Uncle T, just the significance that Uncle T holds. See, one thing about Uncle T actually quit college. Uncle T was going to school for journalism. He was one of the only people from the Brown family who actually went to college from that generation. You feel me? And he was going to school for journalism. And this was around the time Don't Be Cruel. my grandmother had him, you know, stop what he was doing, drop out of college, and he dropped out of college for him to, you know, manage Bob and get Bob's career going, because this is around the time when Bob was going solo and things of that nature. I'll have some people on here who can really get in depth with that real soon. But so Uncle T played a major part in Uncle B's success. You know what I'm saying? Uncle T, he was all about Uncle B. Like that was his little brother was everything, like his everything. I mean, if you know, you know. If you know Uncle T, you know that like Uncle B was like his everything. You know what I'm saying? So the significance of Uncle T, like I was saying, like on tour, Uncle T was security, he was manager, he was assistant, he was the bag boy. We played every role, whatever role needed to be played, but Uncle T was a man who wore a lot of hats for Uncle B. You know what I'm saying? And one of the people who was the most loyal to Uncle B, and Uncle B knows, and anybody who knows. I don't have to really get into too much detail and explain, but if you know, you know. But you know, people used to hate for us to be around, like, oh, you know, y'all come around and it's always a party, whoop de whoop. But that's just how Uncle B was. You know what I'm saying? We would go to different cities, and we would get there. He would want to go shopping, and you know, we wouldn't go eat. Uncle B was the type of person, we'll go eat, he'll go fuck around and order everything on the menu and won't even eat 10% of that shit, you know what I'm saying? But that's just how Uncle B was. Like, he would do shit like that. Sit at the bar, be drinking, and Uncle T would be going off like, yo, we gotta be at rehearsal at such and such a time, and Uncle B be like, man, hold on. And then now Uncle T frustrated, and Uncle T coming to us like, man, get your uncle to get up and let's go. You know what I'm like? And everybody on us, like, we encouraging Uncle B to do what he doing, but it's like, we looking at him like, nigga, we damn teenagers. How we encouraging this grown man to do something? You know what I'm saying? But it was just crazy. But you know, touring, we would tour, go to different places, be on the bus. I remember we had went on a run. Went on a little spot tour date run where we was doing House of Blues. Remember we did a spot in DC called Club Love. If you in DC and you heard a Club Love or remember Club Love, drop a comment. It was like a Club Love. I remember, if I can remember right, it was like levels in there. And that shit was lit that night. It was packed, man. And we was, Uncle B wanted us to perform and shit, but we was in there partying and it got so lit. And I'm like, yo, so we ain't end up performing that night. But I remember we had did DC, we had did the House of Blues in Connecticut, we had did New Jersey on this little spot run. You know, it just used to be good, dope times because we would always, you know, we was together and it was dope. But I remember, you know, once I got the cut on my face, and this is around that time actually when I had got this cut. Because if you remember, if you was ever at one of these dates, I used to wear like something on my head because I used to be I had this scar. You can't really see the scar now because it's like in my beard. But yes, we used to have a good time, man. You know what I'm saying? Just all the cousins and the uncles being together and shit used to just be wild, going to different cities and with the women, different women, and whoop-de-whoop, blase blah. And that's probably why, you know, when I be posting and saying certain things about Uncle B on this page, why y'all women be defending them and feeling some type of way, because me and my nephew's been dealing with a lot of y'all women since we was little kids and y'all was grown. So we ain't gonna go there though. We ain't gonna do too much talking on that because I wasn't taking advantage of. We was willing. You know what I'm saying? So that's a difference. But it used to just be crazy good times, man. Used to just be crazy good times, man. The last time I did some dates with Uncle B, was probably like in 2019, around the time my cousin Billy, rest in peace to Bang Bang, he was doing security. We did some spot dates with RB, RM, and different things like that, you know what I'm saying? But used to be just good times, man. One thing, I met a lot of good people. One thing about Unc, he took me around the world, man. You know what I'm saying? I met a lot of cool people, man, along the way. I've been around celebrities and shit since I was a little kid, so I mean, every celebrity that you can think of I've met. Shout out to some of the coolest ones I've met was Mike Epps, Nelly, the whole murder rank, you know what I'm saying? But it was just good times, man. But I just wanted to get on here, just give y'all a little video, man. If y'all want a part 2 of this, man, drop it in the comments. Shout out to everybody. I love y'all. I'm gonna be dropping in a minute again, baby. Shots to Brown.